much more impressive than what was done before they got here.
To me, the player evaluation, what the value they get in the draft, free agent evaluation, all of that stuff is being done more professionally now that Shanahan has been here.
I'd say maybe contract-wise, but again, you got to take into consideration how many years has this regime had. Out of 4 years, they've been on punishment for 2 of them. So can we really say it's so much different outside of the fact that they've been forced to have to look at their salary cap issue differently than what they did before the people before them?
I'd also say it boils down to whether or not how much you blame the Shanahans for incurring that penalty from.
Well, it also comes back to believing in what it is that.
Do you think these guys could get any flatter in their monotone? Chad Dukes talks like this. Oh, well, what do you think? How are the Redskins doing? Should we fire Shanahan? Oh, well. It's like, God. Well, all right. Hi, Chad Dukes here. WJFK. Well, what do you think we should do? Whatever. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Dave TV for this 19th of November 2013. How ya all doing, everybody? Ugh. So anyhow, I had a really good idea. I mean, one of my Dave TV I did the last one, the one before this one, we had I said, Jim Farley's retiring from WTOP at the end of the year. Why doesn't WNEW hire him? They bring him over. So many people from WTOP that have gone over to WNEW, the new CBS-owned news that's barely going to be 2 years old in January. And I said, no ratings for WNEW. And I said, why don't they bring Jim Farley over? Wouldn't that be a great get? He could go to CBS. He used to work at CBS up there in New York, He could come back to CBS. Well, apparently one of my sources says that probably won't happen because Jim has already signed a contract with Hubbard, which owns WTOP, to consult for them for a 2-year period. So, anyhow, it was a good idea, but he's already contractually bound over there at TOP. But what the hell? Maybe, here's another thing. Maybe Jim Farley has a twin brother named Tim Farley. And Tim Farley could get hired by, they have exactly the same thought patterns. Forget it. Never mind. Anyhow, Lewis radio ratings came out today. I'm not seeing anything terribly earth-shattering, and a bunch of people are saying, oh, look, WMAL 9th place. Well, okay, these ratings are for the 3rd week of November, which is really the last week of October. Why they do that, I don't know. Why don't they just tell us what week they're for? But anyhow, the last week of October, and WMAL was 9th. So, and you got to realize the election stuff's heating up and all that stuff, and at least with the Virginia governor's race, and I would expect a little bump in the road there for WMAL. But if you still look at the money demo, which doesn't count people older than 54, WMAL was 15, a 3-way tie for 15th with TEM and LZL. So, that's not bad for a talk station, but, still a long way from WAMU and TOP and all that. I'm not seeing any other earth-shattering trends in this 3rd week of November radio ratings thingy-dingy. I'm still not seeing any. PGC is the top-rated CBS station at 11th place. Fresh is 15th for CBS. JFK is down there at 18th place. El Zal is 20th place. And WNEW, which we just previously mentioned, is 26th place. And in the money demo, WNEW is 27th place. So, I just call him as I see him. I think that would be a great thing for him to move over there, Jim Farley, to move over to NEW, but it's probably not going to happen. Interesting interview. I just listened to it. Buzz Burbank, the great Buzz Burbank, interviewing the great Cerphe Colwell. Cerphe, anybody who's listened to rock radio in the Washington metropolitan area over the last 40 years has got to know Cerphe. He's been all over the place. He was over at the original HFS back in Bethesda, Maryland, at 102.3 back in the early 70s, and then he went to work at DC 101, and he's been all over the place. Spent a lot of time at, he was at, remember when WJFK 106.7, before they flipped to that guy talk format, in the, what was that, the early 90s, they were a thing called WBMW, and they played this kind of weird, new age, kind of progressive rockish format for a few months or whatever, and Cerphe was programming that. That was a cool little station, WBMW. Remember that? WBMW. And then, of course, before that, they were B106 with a top 40 kind of format. But there's a cool couple of years there. I think that must have been maybe the late 80s, somewhere like 80, 88, 89, something like that, where Cerphe is doing that. And then they kind of went over to Guy Talk. But that was kind of cool there. And Cerfe's been all over the place. He was also for many years at Arrow, WARW there at 94.7. And then when in that 2007, they became the Globe for 2 years. Really cool format for 2 years called the Globe. Cerphe was the afternoon guy over there at the Globe. Remember Weasel did mornings, and that was cool. And then they got blown up for Fresh. And then Cerphe ended up, remember, the 105.9 for about a year or two. They did this thing called The Edge. A classic rock format that could have been better if they let Cerphe program it, but they didn't. The ratings weren't so hot. But he did the, I believe he was doing, he did afternoons there. I remember Michael Merritt, Kirk McCune were doing mornings, and that lasted up until 2011, and then they blew that up and became WMAL's FM side. But anyhow, interesting interview. Check it out at the Realm Network. You can find the links there right at the top of the right column there on DCRTV. You can click on the Buzz Burbank interview with Cerphe Colwell, and he talks about, general state of the radio business today, the rock radio business, and how a lot of rock stations have gone away, to be honest with you. You can hear a lot of rock stuff on the web and on Sirius XM, but a lot of cool rockers on almost every major market have gone away. And he talks about how, back in the early days of HFS, how he had all the freedom to play what he wanted to play, to say what he wanted to say. Hey, 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 like that. Tom Petty song, The Last DJ, one of my favorite songs. If you're on your YouTube machine right now, go to Tom Petty, The Last DJ, and listen to that. It is a cool effing song. But anyhow, I recommend you check that out right there. Okay, so Cerphe and Buzz, 2 more years. Jim Vance, 2 more years for Jim Vance at Channel 4. He's 72 now. He'll be 77. But it's kind of amazing to think Jim Vance has worked at Channel 4 since 1969. That's what, 44 years? 44? He's been at one TV station for 44 years. That's a long time for one guy to work at one station. 44 years. Jim Vance, I remember he came down from Philadelphia. He worked at, remember the old WKBS up in Philadelphia? It was Channel 48. I remember watching them. He used to have Kimba the White Lion and Star Trek reruns back when I lived in the Jersey suburbs there. Anyhow, Jim Vance worked there for a while. They came down here in 69 and then became an anchor at Channel 4 in 72. So he's been an anchor for 41 years. And, it's amazing career for Jim Vance there. Quite astounding. All right, folks. What else did I want to talk about? Anything else? Let me see now. Where did I put this here? Somewhere on the computer. I wanted to show you some of the new arrivals in the DCRTV magnificently huge photo archive here. Oh dear, I'm clicking the wrong buttons. I don't want this stupid program. I'm trying to figure things out here. Where am I going? Let's go to this one. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to move this window over here and move this window over here, and now we can go here. Okay, so let's look at some new arrivals at the DCRTV video archive here, or graphic archive, or whatever you want to call it. WEER 107. I spent the weekend meeting with Bob down in Fairfax. He used to work at WEER back in the late 70s. A really cool kind of HFS-y HFS station there, progressive rock in the late 70s there from Warrenton, which is, of course, 107.7 is now the the Virginia relay for WTOP. And then we got a cool thing here. I'm going to put some of these up on DCRTV Plus one of these days. But an interesting thing here with WRC, when the Senators were back on WRC. This is actually from 1927. 1927. When, the radio. They actually had radio in Washington. 1927. And of course, I remember Seinfeld when they were on good station, Channel 5, instead of that crappy Channel 50. Man. Wash logo, which we've seen, and some more Wash logos. There's Love on the, remember WCTN, AM 950, Christian contemporary station there. That's long gone. We got more there. Okay, now let's look at some cool bumper stickery things and logos. WGRQ down in Fredericksburg, Rockin' Oldies. We've got Virginia's Rockin' Oldies 95.5. That's back the same station, I guess. And some more for them. Super hits of the 60s and 70s. WGRQ Fredericksburg, and some more WGRQ. And of course, the old WJFK logo back when they were a guy talker. Now I'm in Skins territory with the Skins on WJFK back when they were a superstation with Don and Mike in afternoons and Howard Stern in mornings. And remember G. Gordon Liddy doing middays. And of course, when the Redskins were on WMAL way back when. Many years. Of course, the Redskins were on WMAL for, the 70s, the 80s, into the 90s. For years and years and years. In years, the Redskins were on WMAL. And more WMAL. Support our troops. Of course, WOL, 1450 AM. Soul Talker. WPOC. Some logos there. Some more WPOC logos. Lurgers, loggers, leaguers. I don't want that, whatever. Okay, here's a good one. Nobody in Washington argues about which station is important. WTOP radio. Now, this is from 1965. So they've been around a while. This is back when 50,000 watts, CBS, a post-Newsweek station, October 1965, WTOP, dial 15. We brought country back to the Bay Country 103. Remember them? They're WRNR. This was a cool station, WAYE, AM 860 in Baltimore, big band. And before that, they were really cool. This was 1986, but I don't know if it was 86, but it was somewhere in the 70s or 80s, I don't know. But they used to be a really cool little progressive rock station there on AM. Played the big records. How top 40 stations played little 45s. They played big records. WAYE. And some other stuff. And anyhow, I just thought I'd show you some of the latest arrivals there at the DCRTV Massive Archive. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. I'm going to get back to listening to the intensely dull Chad Dukes. I'm Chad Dukes. Well, do you think the Redskins are any good this year, LeVar? Yeah, okay. I'm going to just... He sounds like he's just trying to be mundane, boring, really making an effort at that. Flat, monotone kind of projection in my voice. This is Chad Dukes. All right. Thank you. God. Have a good one. Book 'em, Dan O.